I made a point in the movie, specifically about Obsession, that movie was shot mostly in Burbank, and they didn't use any AI to do it. They just had a really fucking good story, and they did it. And I put it into the intro of the podcast. Then it went into the music of the podcast. I make a new theme song for every episode using Suno, because why not? One of the comments in our YouTube was, you went and dissed AI and then used AI in the theme song. And I was like, well, first of all, did I diss AI? I just said,
you were dissing shitty business practices that make bad creative decisions.
All I said was, you don't need AI to make a movie better. I didn't say that's don't use AI.
Welcome to another CG garage where the monstrous moon shines. We're building new Hollywood like in 1971's prime. From authors' bold dreams to AI's fevered dream, where tech meets the silver or LED screen. Pixels and passion are pipelines unknown. Two hosts, one show on a deadline postponed.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the CG Garage. This is episode number 556, which is one of our rough cut episodes that I recorded back in July 8th, which was just last week. It was with Daniel and James and myself, and we discussed a bunch of things that happened in the news. So there are four basic topics that we talked about. The first one is going to be about A24 and its announcements that it's partnering with Google on some AI products and the backlash that caused for them. We also discussed the op-ed piece that Mark Ruffalo did about specifically the Warner Brothers merger. And the third thing we discuss is about the Odyssey coming out and how Chris Nolan and the studio PR company is trying to promote that everything was done in camera and all practical. Of course, we've heard this many times from Chris Nolan's camp, and we are always questioning whether the validity of that marketing. We also discuss a bunch of other random things that are happening over at Monstrous Moonshine and CG Garage. So lots of things to cover. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. In terms of announcements, I will of course be at SIGGRAPH, and I'm very excited about it. I will be doing a talk at the Chaos Room specifically on Gaussian splats in June, July, which is relevant to everything we've been discussing about June, July, and the production of it. So you guys will be able to see that. There's a lot of stuff we did with Gaussian splats and virtual production and arena, and it's really, really exciting. So hopefully you guys can join us. It will be at 10 a.m. on June 21st. So just go ahead and check out the SIGGRAPH schedule, and hopefully we can see you guys at the lecture. All right, but for now, please enjoy episode number 556.
This episode of CG Garage is sponsored by CenterGrid Virtual Studio. Wondering why you went to film school just to be stuck managing hardware life cycles? CenterGrid delivers end-to-end GPU-accelerated cloud workstations built specifically for VFX and creative production, with flat, predictable pricing and personalized support from people who actually get your workflow. Plus, CenterGrid is TPN Gold Shield certified, so your studio's security is locked down. Check out what Virtual Studio can do for your pipeline at cgvirtualstudio.com.
I'm a very busy person, and let's just get through this.
All right, Scott Galloway. Jesus.
Let's go. Shoot.
Let's just go. All right, guys. So there's obviously, this has been great. These episodes actually of our State of the Industry stuff have actually done very well. It's also, I released an episode that I did with Doug Trumbull. I recorded it back in 2020, and he, unfortunately, Doug, as you might know, passed away in 2022. Yep. But I re-listened to it, obviously, before I put it out there, and it's so relevant still. It is so relevant. And it's not just that, it's the business, right? Mm-hmm. He was talking specifically about Paramount almost going out of business and having, because of how screwed they were on Star Trek the movie back in 1979.
Yeah, because they were chasing Star Wars, and they're trying to flood their way through Star Trek.
I am V'ger.
Yep.
Yeah, but not just that. Mm-hmm. They pre-sold the movie, meaning the theaters paid for the movie,
and they didn't have a movie
before it went into theaters. Yep. And if they didn't have it, they were going to get sued.
They had to release a work print, which is why the original release was so hugely hated because like literally it was an assembly with no real editing, so they could fulfill their contract. It's just like there's and that's why everyone's like, oh my god, it's so boring. I'm like, it's not even done.
It's not even it's not even a movie. An assembly edit. Yeah. Do you guys remember Battlestar Galactica was also in the fray? Remember, like, and someone was trying to put these weird speakers in the back to have like, it was the first sort of like surround. It was a huge, huge speaker.
Battlestar Galactica?
Like because they were doing the same thing that
there was a Battlestar Galactica movie.
You kids don't know. Okay.
Yeah, there was assembled out of like 2 episodes of the shows, like the pilot of the show plus 1 or something like this, and they cut it together. They used to do this kind of junk, you know. Like there's a Space 1999 movie that is edited together from 2 episodes, and they got Ennio Morricone to score it. And Morricone's like, this thing sucks. I'm going to do some weirdest, most experimental music. So you watch Space 1999, the movie, and it's like super weird jazz playing the whole time. Yeah, it's wild.
I love that show.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that show. Yeah, freaked me out as a kid. I'm like, why is that guy's helmet filling with black liquid? What's happening?
What's happening? But yeah, no, with Star Trek: The Motion Picture, like that's a classic example of like, you know, studios chasing a trend. Because because of that,
looks
they
like
shot
kids
themselves
like space.
Yeah, and then like instead of finishing the movie, they shot their own. They basically almost destroyed their own franchise.
Right
before it was a franchise.
So Doug had to save the movie, and he did this after he did all Brainstorm and all the other stuff. He was like, I'm not a visual effects guy now. I'm a movie director, and they're like, no, please save us. Yep. They essentially threatened him. If you don't save us, we're gonna cut you and all this.
Save us or we'll kill you.
Save us or we'll kill you.
We'll kill you.
Okay, so we've got a lot to cover. The first thing I'm going to put in context, as you guys might remember, Daniel and I did an episode about the independent film and the young filmmakers that are coming out and making great stuff. That includes Obsession and Backrooms. And Backrooms, of course, was an A24 film, as we all remember, and people were very excited about A24 and the cutting edge. That's the studio of the future. And then what happened? But A24 announced on June 22nd that they are going to partner with Google DeepMind with a $75 research partnership, $75 million research partnership. And they framed it as an R&D for production distribution tools, not a production deal. A24 said no model trains on their own IP. Nonetheless, you say AI partner with studio, and it's might as well be, slaughtering children on the altar kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's like the idea, there's so many actual angles to talking about this, but the number one angle is that it was not savvy of A24 to announce this, even though they have been savvy in every other way, because of what you said, Chris, is like people don't know the difference between any kind of, just if the topic is AI, they hate it. They don't know what it's used for or why it's used or anything. Like if it's there, it is bad. The end. And that's just it was just dumb of them. I mean, maybe they were just forced into it. They made a deal and they had to announce it for whatever reason, but like that is the space that they're in. Like it seems easily solvable.
Any money they would have saved on this would have been lost in rebranding. So they bailed. But I guarantee you that the R&D is just being absorbed through production company entities. Of course. I'm sure. I know it's still going on. We know it's still going on. It was silly for them to say, hey, you know what would be really great, everybody? I'm sure the board was like, let's find those efficiencies.
This is a great point. You have two audiences for AI, right? Well, there's the stock price audience. And
I call it the LinkedIn audience versus the TikTok audience.
Exactly. The LinkedIn audience versus the TikTok audience. And not to offend anybody, neither of these audiences know anything about what they're talking about.
Dumb as shit. Yeah, and they're completely out of touch with each other.
Wow, I do not. I love my LinkedIn audience and everything it has done for me.
No, they are just as stupid as ever, man.
Nobody is talking about anything factual at all.
They are so oblivious as to the reality of their audiences. It's insane.
It's a bubble.
It's really rad.
That's okay. Why don't you just stop popping
No,
the
it's not.
bubble?
No, it's not a bubble. They are making products and they're only looking at the shareholders, not at their audience, which is insane because they're a studio and they should look at their audience.
Okay. And the people that are hyper reacting they're reacting emotionally without thinking through anything they are already saying about what they believe creatively, and it doesn't make any sense.
I love capitalism. I love capitalism. I think it's great. I do believe that it fails from time to time when applied to things like education, healthcare, and now I'm hearing art. Apparently, it's not great, not the best.
Well, here's my view on this. I think you'll agree with this, James. Like, capitalism, capitalism, small c capitalism, is fine. It's fine. Like,
freaking awesome.
It's fine. Like, it's fine. And because when you're dealing with and it does to an extent. I mean, I'm the super crazy crackpot leftist here. To an extent, there are market correcting forces that if things go wrong, they correct. Like, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
Like and I think there's a lot in play like that here that we can get into. The large problem of capitalism is that because when you dismantle certain, rules about the large scale system, then the oscillations that are required by that course correction are beyond the capacity for regular humans to deal with.
Yep.
Like, that's the problem. That's the actual problem with what is happening right now. Just in terms of art, right? The straw man that is being put up against AI art is so flimsy and bizarre to me that I don't really know how to talk about it anymore because the argument itself doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, from the people that are making the AIs in the first place, they are also doing things that make equally no sense. Like, I'm like, you guys seem to you two ends of the spectrum, the guys that make AI and the guys that are rabidly against AI, seem to agree on this one idea, which is somehow computers can replace artists. Like, one of them is excited about it and one of them is terrified of it.
Isn't this the silly argument?
When I can just tell you, they can't.
No, they cannot.
I will give you another example. And you guys might know the answer to this, but for the purposes of the company and the people involved, do not blurt out who these people are.
Right.
But there's a company that we know that has made a promise to their customers that they can use AI tools to solve a major issue that they were going to be doing. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Now, they promised this and they said AI is going to automate all of this task and it'll be done. And they said, this will be something really quick. We can write the AI tool. It's so easy to do, et cetera, et cetera. And it turns out that they signed a contract and the AI tool failed miserably. To the point that they had to hire people to do the job of what the AI was supposed to do, right?
Yes.
They had to hire a lot of them. And the irony of this all is that people were so desperate for work that they are hiring these people at insanely low wages because there's no work out there in terms of the visual effects people. So these people are real artists doing the job that the AI was supposed to do, but they're doing it at such a low rate.
Right.
So it's like, it's just terrible across the board.
Yeah.
But the promise was made
that
already
happened.
So not only are people pretending that they're not using AI in movies, they're now pretending that they are using AI and they're not.
When they're not. Like, it's the dumb, like, this is some of the dumbest stuff
because
I've ever heard
they're trying to appease to the shareholders or appease to the audience to pretend that, like, just get over it.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, can we just to clarify, because I think that we've already lost a bunch of people because we said the two letters together, A and I. And I think that what we're talking about and the art we're talking about is the generative kind, right?
Yeah.
The generative arts, both.
People do not distinguish that.
That's what I'm trying to do, though, right now, because there are functions of machine learned algorithms, which we benefited from, continue to benefit from, which are AI. And then I have to tell you, this past month, I have fully leaned into agentic workflow, and I sleep better. I do.
You're loving it.
I sleep better.
Have you
used to
stopped
nag.
doing work? No.
No, I've not stopped doing work. In fact, I'm excited to get back to work. Right. And so,
but I also do the work that used to be done by like TDs, which are no longer being done by TDs. Right.
Correct. Yeah. And production designers, I'm sorry, they are getting, for the agentic, for the generative stuff, raw deal.
Well,
total raw deal.
So like I said, there's a zillion different angles on these things.
Zillion different
right?
angles,
Like,
okay.
so like the problem is that everyone wants to take, like put on their fucking team shirt and run with it.
High horse.
Like, yeah. And like, there are like anybody who is pro AI, like not even super pro AI, but uses AI tools, whatever it is, like should also be able to say, there's all sorts of problems with this and people are getting screwed. Like that's true. Yeah, because like things are shifting very quickly, and some people it's working for, and some people it's not working for, and other people have to do like a lot of changing to just stay in the business, and other people just don't have a job. Like that's what's happening. Like that's the shift that's happening, and to pretend like that isn't going to be happening is dumb. Now that being said, this is not the first time that has happened. Like this is like we work in a technological industry, and this is the kind of thing that happens all the time.
Here is the issue, and we are exactly putting. We're. This is this conversation so far has been a perfect example of it. Mm-hmm. The issue that I was trying to bring up was A24 made this announcement.
Right.
We never talked about what they actually did. We never talked about what they're doing. All we said is A24 AI, and now we went bullshit and we went all over the map. Hold on, let me finish. We did all over the map on this whole bullshit thing, and we never actually talked about it. So in the same way, we are participating in the fire stuff, and no one is actually talking about what A24 is actually doing and what.
So let's talk about that.
What is A24 doing? Let's just turn it off.
There's two things.
I'm going to go back to work.
One is that what they're doing, and two is why can't people actually have an intelligent conversation about the nitty gritty of this process?
Right. Great. So number one, what is it they're doing?
Well,
that's the question.
Right. Yeah. They said they're going to be doing this for R&D and production distribution tools. So this is about productivity tools. That's right. They're not trying to do this to sort of generate movies, as far as I know. At least that's not what they're doing. It doesn't seem like something A24 would do, but I get it in terms of you need to be more productive. Like I get
there's in my mind, I don't know what their deal is, but there's no way in the world that these guys aren't looking at trying to save money doing visual effects for the kinds of movies they make. Like that's guaranteed something they're very interested in.
Yes.
Like
100%. And they're going to do something like pretend that they don't use visual effects, which we'll get to in another segment.
Right. Okay. But what we are talking about is like essentially office work stuff at studios and production deals. And
possibly.
Stuff like
we don't know. Right. They never said it.
Regardless, like what is happening, the large scale thing that is happening that this represents is they are reacting to the fact that prices have got to come down. That's what's got to happen. Like this is what we don't know the details of it, but they wouldn't be doing it unless
I think you mean costs have to go down.
No, like prices for making a movie. No, prices for making a movie have to come down. The cost of making a movie has to come down.
Yeah.
So because A24 has just got into the game of making big movies, right? They're going to be making.
Yeah, they're making bigger movies now.
They're making bigger movies now.
Did they make The Mummy? Did they make The Mummy? Blumhouse
the
did
new
The
one?
Mummy.
Maybe Blumhouse, I think.
Anyway,
but for instance, like the A24 rose to its position up
as an art house film.
as an art house company that was very, very well curated, and then they very intentionally crossed over into being a mini major when they put out Civil War, right? Mm-hmm. And now they're looking at making with Alex Garland. They're making the what is it, Elden Ring movie, and I think they're making Elden Ring anyway. But they're making similar large scale things. They're making really big fucking stuff. Like they're going for it, like in a big way.
Yeah, and Backrooms was their biggest film they ever released.
Backrooms is huge, right? But Backrooms is cheap compared to the stuff that they're aiming at doing.
Right. They're looking at the $75 million, $100 million films. Yeah.
And as we've talked about before, like we did a giant podcast on just talking about how awesome Backrooms and Obsession are. They're great. They're incredible movies, and they are representative of the audiences want fresh new stuff. 100% true, right? But A24 also knows that audiences, the reason why we built up to giant superhero ridiculousness is because people really do want to go see big, fancy, crazy movies. Like, they do want that. That's why Star Wars becomes Star Wars, right? And they're not going to be able to be like, oh, we make 4-person micro horror films forever. Like, that's not where the money is. Like, they are interested in making the very big movies. But the problem is the studio system currently does not support the kind of movie that they want to sell, plus the price tag of making a giant movie. Like, those two things don't go together at all. Because if you make a giant movie, a Star Wars level movie, which is what Elden Ring will be, like, if you try to do that right now, it will cost you $250 million to do it. And that, to quote Kurt Russell in Used Cars, these prices are too fucking high. That's just the case. And they are trying to think ahead towards that. And this right here, whatever their deal is they're like, we are in the cutting edge of the studio space right now. We understand the flavor of the things that people want to make, but we know long term, they're not going to just watch repeats of Obsession. They're going to want their big stuff. And we need to come up with a cleaner new plan that doesn't operate like Marvel.
Okay. Sure. I mean, I hear you, but I would also add to that. Yes, and may I and this, Chris?
You can and it.
So when I hear using tools to augment their distribution system, I hear them trying to come up with new ways to find eyeballs, which I think would be a great way to sort of distribute your revenue across more markets, because it's difficult.
But AI.
So honestly, I do think if you look at something like, you guys know about Vitrina, right? Or Viki, right? Sure. If you go to Viki, is also a supplemental of Vitrina. These guys for the past 3 years have been taking decommissioned technology to look for signals in our business. And so you can go to Vitrina right now and take a look at every single piece of IP that was bought at any particular moment. It looks at all those signals and then track it all the way down to who usually gets the job of producing that sort of show and who they use and who they go all the way down to so these people now morphed into a marketplace, and now they are hooking up financiers.
Here's the thing about distribution.
All that's AI, by the way. All of that is AI driven.
Sure. So here's the thing about distribution that we talked about on the Obsession Backrooms one, is the studios have used 1 million algorithms to try to figure out the audience, and they fucked it up every single time.
Yeah.
And the idea that Obsession and Backrooms came from YouTubers was specifically because those guys, as young as they are, completely in tune to the audience, no matter what they were. It had nothing to do with AI. They just know their audience, and they did a really good job.
Well,
and we used to be able to do that. Well, I got one last question on this thing. We have to move on, but okay, just really quickly. Here's a couple of quotes I want to put out there. One is from Justine Bateman, and it says, "All of AI directors should prepare for your films being altered against your wishes with this deal." Okay, that's obviously
that's true anyway.
Yes,
that's why we have contracts.
That's true anyway.
It's just true with AI.
Unless you're Orson Welles in 1948.
Okay, and then the AI spokesman Sophia Shin said, "We'd rather have a seat at the table than to be on the sidelines." Okay, now here's my question. Mm-hmm. Do you think A24 was aware that they were going to have a backlash by making this announcement? Do you think they were taken by surprise, or do you think they were obligated to make this announcement because of the size of the announcements that they made?
I think that they weighed the backlash versus the need to tell investors, and that whether they're legally required to tell investors, I don't know. But certainly investors love to hear this shit.
Yeah, but they hate to hear that they're getting canceled because of it too.
Yeah, but investors don't care if they're canceled literally at all. But
not the
A24, yeah, A24 cares if it's canceled.
But the investors care if people cancel A24.
Yes,
right.
And so, I'm sure that A24 was like, okay, do we say this? How do we say this in a way that it works? Because I think they're banking like, and I hate to say this because this is not going to win any
Don't
fucking
say
votes.
it, Dan.
Like, does anyone remember the 99% protests?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what's going to happen here. That's what's
Okay.
going to happen here. Like,
Okay.
like you guys, like, because there's nobody knows what they're fucking talking about at all, it's going to go nowhere. It's not that you don't have good points all over the place, but there's everybody on every side is simply going, I want this thing that I need to be true, and then arguing from that point of view, as opposed to, does it work? No, we're not going to use it. Does it work? Yes, we'll use it. Like, which is the actual boots on the ground business of making a movie or doing deals. Nobody fucking cares. You're trying to run a business. Yeah. Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And no one's going to make it work when it doesn't. And if it does work, get used to it because it works. Because that's what's going to happen.
I think we made the point capitalism's great. Didn't we already say that?
So I'm just reminded, I was just rewatching The Studio, the great show on Apple TV about a studio running, and they were having this big debate on who should be cast for the Kool-Aid movie, and they realized when they got Ice Cube cast for the movie that it might somehow be perceived as racist.
Yeah,
is it racist?
Awesome.
And they presented it, and I think they were really nervous when they presented at Comic-Con, and they bring out Ice Cube, and they were like, hey, and everyone's excited, and then someone says, is it true you're going to use AI for the animation? And everyone, boo, 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 boo.
Yeah.
And everyone went on, and I was like, oh, thank God that they didn't bring up race. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I was like, oh, it's okay. They're just complaining about AI.
Right.
Thank God it didn't bring up the race.
Yeah,
issue.
like, because like all this stuff, like, and for not to mention, like I always say, like all this like super bandwagoning super bandwagoning against is happening on YouTube and TikTok and other social media, which are some of the biggest AI algorithms in the world, and they're
feeding
just
the
making
system.
money off
I
you
know,
being
I know.
pissed.
People pissed off about their art on Instagram and putting their art on Instagram, and of course, it's trading AI systems.
No, not pissed off about their art. Pissed off about other people's art.
Yeah,
even though their art is being
if
used.
they're actually creating, I don't think they're complaining.
Like I like, because I don't want to be taken out of context. It's already too late. But like here's the way it is.
You already too late yourself?
I'm already too late.
It's already too late.
Please use the entire clip, guys. Like, here's what it comes down to. If you, when you watch a movie, can tell that something stinks, you don't like it. If the movie is bad, you don't want to see it. Right?
Yeah.
And so if you see an ad where they go, wow, that really looks like shit, do you pay the $7 on VOD to see it? No, because it looks really bad.
No, you do, and then you fall asleep in the movie like I did in Supergirl.
Yeah, sure. But like, but I'm talking about like,
you fell asleep in Supergirl?
Yeah.
Wow.
So everyone says like, I can always tell when CG is used. It always looks, CG ruins movies, or AI ruins movies, or whatever the hell they say. Okay. That's what they say. And then they go and watch Zodiac, and they're like, wow, that movie is amazing. Fincher does incredible things with practical. And then they talk to me online. They're like, that's right. Fincher only uses practical. And I'm like, I'm the guy who did the digital blood, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Fincher
so we're going to
talk.
We're going to bring that up. This actually, we're going to save that for segment 3. Okay. I'm going to move on to segment 2. Okay.
But the thing is, like, all I mean to say is that, like wanting to believe something,
I know,
has nothing to do with whether it's actually used. The thing that is actually used is the thing that is cheapest, or it doesn't, and the thing that sells.
Pizzagate is real, man. Pizzagate is real.
That's it.
I know, you just want to believe it.
Yeah,
people want to believe these things, and it makes sense. Okay,
they want to believe AI is a magical thing that'll save everything. It won't.
All right. On that point, go watch the AI documentary. I think it's really well done. Some people think it doesn't go far enough, but it really does come up with the Optopocalypse, Optopocalypse.
Movement? Whatever the subtitle was. Yeah.
It's right. It's right down the middle. There are people who think that everything's going to be great. And other people say it's going to kill you. I think once again,
it did save my sister's life, but nonetheless,
yes. They're goods, they're bads. That's the world.
Sure. Let me bring up. So the second thing I want to talk about is the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, which obviously is old news, but I want to talk specifically about the Mark Ruffalo op-ed, right? So, just to put this in context. All right, let's set this up. Paramount Skydance Warner Brothers Paramount Skydance and Warner Brothers signed a definitive merger deal in February 2026 for $31 a share in cash, $110 billion enterprise value, expected to close in Q3 of 2026, pending regulatory approval, which of course is just Trump, so it's going to go fine.
Yeah,
Drops the U.S. major studios to 4 now. We used to have 6, now we have 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. These are major studios. This is why A24 could replace.
Of course, yeah.
Come in
A24 is making the right. Making
the right moves. And so whether it's AI or not AI,
it doesn't make
it doesn't matter.
Neon might recover. Neon might come up from behind.
Could
Neon might, but I don't. A24 is a bigger name than Neon.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
like the great bubbling, stew of studios.
Sure. So, May 2026, Mark Ruffalo and Matt Stoller published a New York Times op-ed arguing the real story isn't the 4,000 plus signatures and the 75 Oscar winners and on the blocked merger letter. It's the people who agreed privately but won't sign. Cited Retaliation example, Paramount reportedly pulled ad spend from Ankler after its editorial director has seen with the block the merger button on CinemaCon. So now people feel they're getting blacklisted for having had an opinion about the merger.
Wait. Hold on. Whoa. Wait, are you telling me that principals may have cost somebody something?
What?
Wait a minute.
Right. So, Mark Ruffalo and Matt Stoller said it was the people who didn't, not because they disagreed, but because they were afraid.
Right.
So that's the thing that happened. So there are a lot of things that are sort of out there that are important to think about.
Yeah, I think that
what are your thoughts on that thing?
Okay, who here is a member of the union? A union? Any union?
No. Not me.
I belong to 2. I have a pension waiting for me, right? I was raised by a lefty liberal family and was taught never cross the picket line. You don't know what's going on, so better safe than sorry. It's just don't cross it, right? I am definitely in an interesting spot because I think it's fantastic that Mark Ruffalo is creating a conversation that needs to happen. And I do believe the retaliation is real. This is not a union action. If it were, I wouldn't cross the picket line. However, I think it points to a much bigger problem, collective bargain-wise, and that is it is this country's economics makes it really hard to work here, to produce here. It makes it really difficult, and it comes down to much bigger problems like healthcare. But that's a whole nother conversation. The fact that Mark Ruffalo is got the spine and the weight and the clout to have this conversation, and that people are a little afraid of signing it, I think that's their right to be afraid. I'm very happy that he's having this conversation. I do believe that people are concerned. I don't see many examples of large conglomerates benefiting anyone. But again, capitalism works, and we wind up in a place where, like you said, A24 is going to come up from below, right? Things are going to sort of boil and break open, and it's going to be a long-term problem. Thank you, Mark Ruffalo, for saying the quiet part out loud. I think though that people get sort of myopic about the issue, and don't sort of take into the fact that these are going to be longer, larger problems. So there you go. No answers here. Answers here. No high horse here.
I understand. But this merger, it's interesting, right? Because they were first protesting the merger because it was Netflix, right? Either way, Warner Brothers had to go up on the chopping block, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't say, tough it out, Warner Brothers. I know you're going bankrupt, but tough it out. So either way, it was going for sale. But first they were protesting Netflix because they say, if it goes to Netflix, nothing will be in theaters anymore. Now they're protesting Skydance because this too small a studio. Either way, what's the deal?
There's nothing good about any of any way this goes. There's just nothing good about it because, like, number one, like the actual art is not being cared for in the slightest in any direction. Like like going to Netflix, you can see what Netflix is like. Yeah, like, I mean, their point of view now, they've just openly said it's like, we're not going to work with directors who insist on theatrical. Like, we're not going to do it. And it's just like, okay, cool. Like, at least you said it out loud. There it is. Like, they don't, like, Netflix is in a different business than the movie making business. Like, what they do involves movies, but it isn't about making movies, right? And then with Skydance, like, Skydance does not make a lot of good movies. And like, this isn't, like, media wise, this is in bed with a guy who's super into Trump, which is what Ruffalo's
that's what Ruffalo's really angry about.
And
let's be real about what the situation is.
Like, that's what's really going on. And I think that is a perfectly realistic thing to be angry about, because, like, I think that like you know, I do believe, like, for instance, here's a great example of capitalism working itself out on the largest possible scale. World War II. Like, yep. we definitely stepped in to stop Hitler the moment it became economically inconvenient to not be at war anymore. We're like, right. All right, this is getting a little hairy. Let's knock that guy out. And then we go in and help everybody. Like, it was a good idea to stop him before then. But it happened
for many reasons.
Yes,
there's we got everyone on board when it started, you know, hitting.
But we really put our backs
into
convincing the American public once it started to interfere with money. Like, once rich people got really
I love James
with.
Stewart's whole push towards joining the Air Force. Which really,
absolutely.
Go back and look at that stuff. It's on YouTube.
Like,
it's amazing.
I'm a thoroughly anti-war guy, but if you're going to say one war is a good war, it was to stop Hitler. Definitely do that one if you're going to checkbox one of them. So for the rising powers of the world that think they can, you know, take over all of Europe and the world with their maniacal ideas, like, it doesn't work out. In the end, you end up in a bunker on fire. That's what happens. That's the end of your journey. And I don't know why you guys don't know it yet, but that's what happens, you know. And what you want to try and do now is to minimize the scale of that event. Like, that's what Mark Ruffalo is trying to do. And I get that, and I back it. I think that the way to do this across the board, both economically and politically and all that, is to attend to yourself in small ways and attend to your communities in small ways. Like execute control in small ways all the time, and then things don't end up like this. It's when we let go of control that it starts to build up into a big ball that rolls down on top of us.
Think globally, act locally. Was that the thing?
Yeah, I'm a big believer, and this is my punk thread the entire time. I'm just like, you retain, like, from art, you retain creative control when you keep things small and manageable and passionate and functional. You know, and then you try to, and then you can see the scale of things, and you care about, you know, real things and real people, and you attend to them because it's part of your business. When things get big enough that you're a gigantic concern, you start to forget about the little guy that got you there. Then you start making giant mistakes that add up, and then the little guy strings you up by a lamppost. That's what happens. And like the studios, you know, on the smallest possible, most unimportant scale in movie making, have this has happened to them now. And now A24 is the new kid on the block who's the young up and comer, you know? And so, like, what you should do, I think what Mark Ruffalo is doing correctly is he's saying, before this turns into an even bigger boulder that crushes us, I need to speak up. And I think that's a very responsible thing to do.
Me too. And if I gave any indication that was not my position, I'm glad he's doing it. I think that he is in a position to do it, and he's doing it, and I think that's fantastic. I don't think anyone
what's
should
happening
be judged,
though. Well, what's happening is people are being judged, and that's what they're arguing here. People are getting blacklisted because they signed a petition.
They're also they're going to get blacklisted for not signing it, because it seems like it's bending that way too, right?
That's correct, right?
This is because of the aforementioned team. You know, like teams that everyone's on. Like, there's no flexibility. There's no dialogue. There's nothing like that. Just teams.
This is why it's so interesting to be a Gen Xer. You go, huh?
Like Yeah, looks like I gotta make my own cheese sandwich.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go listen to my talking head. See ya.
Yeah.
Talk to you later. Yeah.
Like this is the thing is like
Blondie's
now, like
in concert right now, so
yeah,
take care.
exactly. Like I think that like I can talk all day long about like Gen X is got all sorts of problems that I definitely agree with.
How dare
But like at very least, they know they're the last person on the totem pole, so they're the most ready to be like, okay, can we just stop fucking yelling, please?
You know what
I
it
just want
reminds
the
me of?
cheese sandwich. Can we get to the cheese sandwich?
It reminds me of
Duplass.
it reminds me of,
Mark
it reminds me of
Duplass.
this. It
Yeah, go
reminds
ahead.
me of this. Like my wife was. This is probably 20 years ago. His wife was working on a major horror franchise, right?
Mhm.
And the studio hires like these up and coming young directors to do this because they can get them for super cheap because that's their first film, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah. And so these young directors think they're hot shit because they're working on a major horror franchise.
Yeah.
So they come into the Bay where my wife was working with the executive, right? And they're like, start spewing off their intellectual ideas about how this movie is whatever, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, interesting. And so they're going on and on about all these things they want to do to the picture and adjust it. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And then the executive says, it's like, this sounds great. We totally love this. No problem. It's like, you know what? I got to speak to Karen for a little bit. Why don't we meet you downstairs in the lobby? I'm just going to ask her a couple of things and we'll take care of this. Sounds great. So they leave. And then the minute they leave, he goes, okay, here's what we're really going to do.
Here's what's going to really happen.
Because whatever that guy said, I don't give a shit. This is how
Yeah.
it's going to be done.
Right.
You're going to ignore everything that person said. You're going
Right.
to do this because that's the actual way to make this movie.
Yeah,
You
like,
don't pretend like it's all whatever. So,
But yeah, like the basis of this is that it like the movie business is a business, and like that's how the decisions are going to get made.
right.
And
So
go
just
ahead.
because I dropped Mark Duplass's name, so I thought I'd better just close that loop.
Yeah.
He said something that I think really sort of speaks to everybody while all this other stuff is going on, while we're trying to figure out where everyone's fighting the battles, a multifaceted problem, and everything's changing every day, and it's hard to know where to go if you just want to go ahead and get to work, right? And you want to just like actually apply, and
Yes,
he said
yes.
he said wield the sword that you have, which
Yes.
I think when the minute I heard it, I'm like, that's what we're doing, and I just felt like
he's a genius. That guy's genius.
that is
Well, not only that, he also
the
said the
thing.
cavalry's not coming, right?
That's right.
So you sit here and complain and complain and complain,
That's
and
right.
you're hoping that someone's going to save you. No one's going to save you.
That's
You
right.
just got to do your thing, right? If you don't complain about how movies are made, just make the fucking movie the way it should be made.
This is the thing you have
Right.
control over. Like your hands extend to here. That's what you can control. Like
Right.
do that.
And don't make a movie with AI because you want the investors to be happy that you use the word AI in your company profile,
It's
right?
dumb. It's just
Were the
dumb.
people who were saying that, were they really the ones making the movie?
No, they
Well,
were not, but
well,
they
for instance-
seem like they feel obligated to do that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people are. And listen, there are AI companies out there that are now falling by the wayside
Mhm.
quietly.
Of
right?
course.
A lot of
Because
them
they're
in the industry.
because they're not doing anything. They're not producing anything.
They're not
useful.
producing anything, but all they want to
That's
do
it.
is they want to put the word AI in front of their company,
Yeah.
.ai,
The classic
whatever,
bubble
and then,
bullshit.
and then get the angel investor to give them $5 million,
Right.
and then not worry about it.
Because like
but listen,
everyone,
guys,
like when I
guys,
hear, go
guys,
ahead.
we're sitting here attached to each other by a technology which was the result of another piece of bubble bullshit, which was the .com era.
I'm not.
So
yeah,
it's,
no.
it's
Okay,
popping,
let me
but it's not
clarify.
going anywhere.
Okay, so let me clarify this. We're going to agree exactly. Okay,
That's right.
Everyone who is anti-AI is just like, well, it's just a bubble, and the bubble's going to burst. Well, yeah, the business bubble is going to burst.
Yeah.
And big companies are going to go out of business very quickly, and it's going to be really hard. Right. The technology itself is not going away.
No.
Right.
Like it's not like the internet went away when the bubble burst.
No,
Like
Well,
it is a,
pattern
like,
recognition
the
beyond
things-
human scale.
The
is
things
useful.
that
We
stay
actually-
are the
we-
things that are functional.
We don't
That's
actually
it.
know that because we said the same thing about NFTs, right?
Well, I can tell you the difference between those things for sure.
I know, but I'm just saying, just because we said those things doesn't mean that's going to be like...
No, well, meaning that there are things that have been created, like there are tools that have been created that are obviously extremely useful that will continue to be in use.
Sure.
Right? We may never, maybe they'll stop inventing anything useful tomorrow, right?
Sure.
But we already have these tools that exist, and those will remain in existence and continue to be used. That because they work and they're useful. Like
Sure.
if they invent new tools with this technology that are useful tools, they will be used. If they are not useful, they will not be used, and there will not be a business model attached to them, right? Right now, these companies are making a lot of money by spewing a lot of bullshit about all the magical things in the future of, fucking Isaac Asimov future that they're all saying is coming. None of that is actual. Like we have no idea. Well, no, but just like none of it is real yet, right? Most of it will never be real. Some of it will be real. And if they make it real and it's useful, it'll stay. Yeah. And the rest of it will go away because it's not useful and there is no business model. That is the mechanism of capitalism we're talking about. Is like,
so you're saying Betamax is coming back.
Well, like the thing is, like Betamax, like sure, like this is a great example.
No, it did. It was called Digibeta.
Yeah, VHS was a inferior product to Betamax, right?
Yes.
And so people bring this up saying, obviously this doesn't work out in everybody's favor, but the technology ideal itself of videotapes you watch at home stayed. Like, yeah, we could have gotten a better one, but it turned out it was a little cheaper to sell us this other one, so they did that. We got a little fucked, but it's not like the thing went away.
That's what we did.
That's what happens. That does happen.
All
but
the time.
It's not like people aren't going to be like, well, this company collapsed, so we're never going to use algorithms again. Like, we probably will. We have generative AI, and like even if generative AI stopped today, it has still been very useful for random small bullshit for me in ways that I will use. If the company closes down and I have no access to it anymore, I'll do it the way I used to do it.
I have sitting right next to me a very nice machine supplied me by AMD. Thank you, AMD and John Canning. And it's supporting an open source AI model called Gemma, an LLM, right? And I am working with it constantly. Right. And it's obvious to me that pattern recognition on this scale is a tool that humans really, really need and will continue to use throughout. Just like autocorrect isn't going away. This is autocorrect.
So for instance,
large concepts.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So like if it turns out that by using this technology, the human race goes extinct, will they still be in business?
What?
No, right?
Yeah, right.
There,
I mean,
see,
is a meteor hitting planet 2? I mean, what are we talking about here?
This is what I'm saying. So, like, if it turns out that by using this tool we all get space cancer and explode,
okay, got it. All right.
Okay,
yeah. Okay.
Will it continue to be in business?
No.
Right. So,
because killing the customer is really bad business.
Yes. So I encourage everyone to think in the reduced form of that model, which is if this thing does not work, it won't be used. If it's not used, it won't be a business model, and you don't have to worry about it.
And we're starting to see some companies that do that. All right, we need to move on.
That's it.
And we know what's hard is that I tried really hard to minimize our AI discussion, and yet we cannot go 30 seconds without saying it. And it's very hard. Nonetheless, let's move on. Odyssey's coming out. We're all excited about it. And then, of course, Chris Nolan is heavily talking about how everything was done in camera, as he tends to do and the marketing department does. Right? So this is the first feature film shot entirely on 15 70mm IMAX film. Real seaworthy ships were built instead of a tank. Mirror rigs were invented for actors to enhance eye lines. Okay, great. D-Neg and Weta Workshop were both confirmed on VFX. Andrew Jackson, supervisor, same setup as Oppenheimer, with Nolan saying 0 CGI claims already.
D-Neg was handling catering. That's what they were doing.
Yes,
they were really, really good.
D-Neg and Weta were handling catering.
Their Vienna sausage
despite the YVFX professionals. So Chris Nolan says, we want the audience to be on the boat and fear the ocean. Films like this are not done anymore, says Matt Damon. And then, of course, Nolan movies are chock full of VFX and CGI. It's all a myth, says Phil Kelly, who's on Threads. So here's the thing. I want to go through this a couple of ways. First of all, are we still freaking doing this? And does this marketing
doing which
bullshit
part?
Still
we will
work?
always be
Where
doing
we
this.
Pretend that it was all done practically.
We will always be doing this.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
Okay, because we used to talk about how amazing the visual effects were. Now we just talk about how amazing the lack of visual effects are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
okay. So first of all, let's talk positively about practical. Let's talk about this because first of all, anybody I've ever met in VFX loves shooting practical plates and practical shit. It's
100%.
super fun. It's the funnest thing. Oh my God, though, if we can get the budget to do that, we do it. It's amazing.
Sure.
Like, absolutely. Fantastic. When I was working on Real Steel,
We don't
like
fight for like, no, please use a green screen so I have more work.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. No, like on Real Steel, Eric was insistent. He was just like, we are going to shoot this with a model and it's going to be like this. And then we still had to go in and like paint shit and do some CG trickery and then we comped it and then it was half in 3D and we projected it because we're a team of technicians that uses a bunch of tricks to make a shot for you for an illusion. Like on the basic level of building a model and blowing things up is super fun. Everyone wants to do this.
Sure.
Also, it's really expensive to do that.
And hard.
It's
hard.
really expensive,
It's really
very hard.
hard.
And you only get 1 or 2 shots to do things like that most of the time. So when Chris Nolan says that this is what I'm doing, I first of all endorse it because it's a blast. Second of all, you must have an enormous amount of money, Chris Nolan. And he does. He can build a giant boat. And if I have the budget to build a giant boat, you bet I'm building a giant boat. That's awesome. That's great.
Right.
You know, it's fun for the actors. I got to manage a shitload of people, and it's going to be better
So
for
what's
them.
this?
And
We
all
didn't-
this stuff. It's great.
So what do you think he's saying when he says no CG was used? What do you think he's trying to do?
What do you say?
It's a marketing ploy.
Yes, but to cut him
I don't
all
think
the
it's
slack
just
in
that.
the world, to cut
What
him
do you
all the
mean?
slack in the world, is that he is saying, like, this is not coming from a studio bullshit place. This
Right.
is coming from a place of joy in filmmaking,
Right.
tangible
That's what he's
reality
trying
of
to say.
filmmaking.
No, but he
and I wanna
also
convey that to
actively says,
people.
because he got a Visual Effects Society award.
I know.
And
Yeah.
he said on the stage as he accepted the award for the visual effects, he goes, this is really hard. This is like getting an award from your plastic surgeon trying to pretend that you never had any plastic
Yes.
surgery.
Yes,
Right?
of course.
Yeah.
Right?
He knows how it works.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm getting an award for all the visual effects that I've used in movies while I say actively don't do it. This is, by the way, one of the biggest reasons I have a problem with the VES is they celebrate people who shit on our industry.
Okay.
Like
All right.
Ang Lee and
All
Chris
right.
Nolan.
All right. Listen, I hear your point of view and your perspective, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I am with Dan on this. That basically this guy Nolan is trying to just celebrate. He just doesn't want to admit that he tried so hard to make everything practical. He tried so hard, and he doesn't want to admit that he couldn't do it all the way, and so some things had to be done that way, and that's just kind of
he
what
knows
he tried,
who he's talking
right?
to, right?
Yeah.
He knows, like he's talking to an audience that does not understand visual effects, and he wants to assure them that they're going to get bang for their buck.
And I think they do, and they
I get
will.
it.
And
Yeah.
but I've also talked to actors on this thing, and so have you. But basically, it came at a dear cost. I mean, the costumes were practical. They were all running around. If you were in Ithaca, you were running around for 6 months in flat-footed sandals,
Fuck, dude.
slipping off of
love
things, trying to do these
Everybody
things.
loves it.
Your
Everybody
back
loves
was
this stuff.
spasming
You
because
want
you had
the
no arch
story.
supports. You know,
This is spectacular. Like, you want to say you're on a Chris Nolan film and you're doing all this crazy shit. Like, nobody in film ever says, I can't believe I have to work so hard. It's a movie. Of course you work that hard all the time. That's what you do. It's a movie. That's
sure.
what
Those guys went through it, though.
You know,
I mean, I think it was really
Oh,
hard.
without a doubt. Like incredibly grueling. But it's like we talk about Fincher. I mean, like anyone who ends up on a Fincher show and then bitches that it's too much work, guys, like, you know who you're going to work for. Come on.
But isn't it also this like so? But is we brought this up on our episode that we recorded for Disclosure Day. But isn't this also like if people are talking about how the movie was made, isn't that basically a sign that if how the movie is made is more important than what the movie is, that you probably don't have as good a story?
It's a two-edged. Yes, absolutely. Because the way we phrase it is we say something like the reason, like when people watch whatever, say, one of the new clumsy Star Wars movies, and the CG is like a little wobbly or whatever, like they're like, see, the CG ruined the movie. Like, no, it's the shitty screenplay. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Well, from that, but just to follow through, I just want to say it's a double-edged sword. Is because and we all know this from being kids and falling in love with visual effects, is like when you love a movie, the other edge of the sword is you want to know about that stuff. Like you want to dig into the VFX and you want to know about the models and you want like there's a romance to the construction of a movie that is the reason why we got in making movies, right? And so part of what Nolan is selling is that. And I get that 100%. Now, I also agree that the marketing department takes that ball and runs dangerously far with it, right? Nolan, I've seen Nolan talk about VFX positively all the time. Like, they don't usually include that part of the interview in the clips, but he does talk about it. Whereas, like, I've never met Ang Lee, and I think he's he's a world-class filmmaker, and he's made some of my favorite films. Like, he was a straight up fucking jerk to VFX people, like wholesale. Like he was like, "Fuck you guys, I don't give a shit. I made the movie, and you guys can screw yourself." That's Ang Lee, and like I saw things that he said. I was like, that doesn't seem like a very nice man. Like I don't think that's true for Chris Nolan. Right. And there goes any job I ever get from Ang Lee. Maybe he's a nice guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, love Ang Lee and everything he's done for the movie industry. That being said,
one of the best filmmakers ever. Yeah. But like, this is like,
See,
don't
worry, you're going to get Ruffaloed after this. So
that's right.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like he's made Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You got me for the rest of your life, Ang. Absolutely. But in terms of the way
they didn't use any VFX on that, any CG.
Yeah, come on.
All right. I need to make a point of order here and circle back, because in the case of, is the Odyssey trying to create an event out of using things so big and so large and so spectacular? It's the Odyssey, guys. And of course they're going to try and go Griffith. I mean, this is total Griffith. This is what Griffith did, right?
Exactly, because we're in the Barnum and Bailey business, right? You're not going to be like Chris Nolan's going to be like, and now behind this curtain, 500 visual effects workers are working 16 hours a day for almost nothing, and they're eating Toblerones. That doesn't sound great.
Yeah. So I think
this guy has a bottle of whiskey on his desk. Can you believe it?
The non-CGI conversation is about authenticity to something so epic, because it is the Odyssey, right? It's been with us for a while, and so it has to be this. It has to be this.
The thing is, like,
I know there are VFX supervisors out there. Mark Russell out there used to complain to me. He goes like, "I work for directors who never want to see VFX, and he just works for them nonstop, but they don't ever want to see the VFX."
Yeah, well, like, because you can't. The thing is, like, you can say, "Look at the giant boat we built." And look at all these people, and everyone who sees that is amazed. You don't go like, look at this X-ray of Dan Thron's spine, which looks like a fucking lowercase s. That's what he did for this movie. Look at that. It's pretty great. Look at this. He's got kinesio tape on his hand because he works so hard. Come see the Odyssey.
All right, that doesn't happen. Back to healthcare.
Yeah. You should see how many nibs he used on his Wacom tablet before
can you believe that? Like, there's a certain this also Wacom. Like this bridges into the AI thing as well, just gently, is that there are certain kinds of production that just aren't romantic. Like, you can make a movie about Michelangelo painting the Sistine Chapel and be like, oh my God, he's there every day and the stuff's dripping into his eyeballs. But you can't do that about a guy like who's just like, I can't believe fucking Photoshop crashed. like it's not romantic, no matter what you are working on.
I don't want to talk about data loss. I still have PTSD out of data loss. I don't want to talk about
They
it.
made, listen, that's not true. They made Silicon Valley, which is exactly that. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, there's the romanticism of seeing a giant fake boat be built and people are running around on. That's fun. It's simply fun.
I get it. I just wanted to bring it up because it's come up again. Right. And
I agree.
He just has to be called out every time. And
well, because I agree with you. I hate it on the other end, which is where, because that's true, because we're in the Barnum and Bailey business, like, which is like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's our fucking job, man. We don't want to be seen. That's what we're supposed to do.
And you're right about that. Yeah.
Said the man on the podcast.
Yeah. But the thing is, on the other side of this thing, right, is that studios go, nobody knows that any of this is fake. And we can use this. We can use this against them to depress their wages, right? We can use this against them to push creative decisions to the end of the road. Like what I miss, the real romance I miss, is when I used to worship ILM, and I had the ILM VFX book, like where it looked like a really fun, cool job, which it was. And I wanted to do it because it looked so awesome. And I was in love with it and the film, right? Yeah. Now audiences are not like that. Now audiences associate certain kinds of artists with failure and other kinds of artists with romance. And the studios instantly leverage that against the people that they can force into lower pricing.
Right.
Like, that's where it fucking stinks. It's not that we're not recognized. Oh my God, I can't believe we're not up on the stage at the Oscars. It's that, when I was working on a certain superhero movie, I was making about an hourly rate of working at McDonald's, and I was working 16-hour days. Like, that's because CG ruins movies. Like, that's the attitude that got me in that position. And that's why they were able to, they were able to kick the creative decisions all the way down to post-production, which means everyone is pressured and rushed, and they're going to still grind for the lowest possible bid, right? And then on certain movies, they'll even say, like, you can't tell, we're going to NDA you and keep you from mentioning that you did work on this movie because we want to sell people on the idea that this is all practical so we make more money, because then it's more real, it's more authentic. Like, that's where this shit goes wrong. I don't think that Nolan does that, but it is certainly the thing that is the problem. And people should know that as much as there are giant big boats done, like, that's by a filmmaker who has the budget to do that shit. Almost everybody else doesn't, and that's where we come in. Like, that's why they have set extensions, because they couldn't afford to build the fucking set. Or the big boat.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay.
This is where we are.
All right. So we're gonna go some quick fire items.
So angry
now.
today. Sorry about it.
So angry. Did you eat your pickles? Eat your damn
get all
pickles.
feisty.
Eat your
feisty.
Pickles and oatmeal. All right. We are going to talk about a couple of quick fire things, mostly about Monstrous Moonshine updates. First of all, I know we probably should have done this at the beginning, but we have all three of us, and about 57 more people finished a shoot a week ago or so, which
awesome,
pretty exciting,
simply awesome. Yes,
right. So
awesome.
Scratch that itch, buddy. It's what it did.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about what that was. You guys have been following the June-July thing. We followed our previous situation that we did. It was very, very exciting. Essentially, we did a Vidviz here on a blue screen area here with a very small crew. We sort of planned out the whole shoot, and then we executed the real shoot. And the first part of that, as you guys remember, we went up to Angels Camp, and we did with a minimal crew at Angels Camp. We shot some establishing shots and did a scan of the area. We then took that scan, which we turned into a Gaussian splat, and brought it back to an LED stage and finished the entire scene that was done in the Vidviz, both interior and exterior portion of it, in a 2-day period. It was, we went all out on it. I'm just going to put it
you
that
actually
way.
missed a step, actually, because of we got the X grid to make the point cloud, but we were very concerned about the color fidelity because of the cameras on it, right? So we actually used the RE, right?
Yes.
And went and took. I'm going to tell because you missed it. We went and took it to the good people at Photochem and worked with some very talented artists there to shoot under your great direction, a great day for night effect, and then exported those files and used those as the source to create the splat, and it looked great.
Absolutely. And we will be talking, I will actually be doing an entire talk about this at SIGGRAPH. So if you guys are going to be at SIGGRAPH, hopefully hopefully this podcast comes up before then. But if not, come to SIGGRAPH, come to that talk. You'll hear more about the details of that. Nonetheless, it was an amazing shoot, both practically and digitally. Man. Right.
Yeah,
and James got to scratch his acting itch with other incredible actors.
Yep.
Dallas Roberts.
Yep, Dallas Roberts. Yep.
Yeah, Dallas Roberts, Ian Castleberry, and Jeff
Lorch.
Jeff Lorch. So we had
Jeff's email, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. Everybody terrific. James terrific. Clutch work on a dense day. James had to deliver some big emotions, and we had lots of shots to get. Still did the work. Thank you. There's nothing else that I can ask for.
This is real.
Under tight
if there's anything that proves that we're serious about what we're doing, when you guys see this edit, it's going to be like, oh God, yeah, these guys aren't just a bunch of VFX people. We are really, really honing in on the filmmaking. I do want to bring up one big thing that I think is very important. I was hanging out with Richard yesterday, our DP, and he is a fantastic person. But you know what he does better than anyone I've seen anyone do with a LED wall? He throws it away.
Throws it
right?
That's
away.
right. That's right.
Yes.
And
it's
so
not the star of the show.
It's not. And what I mean by throw it away is that it's there the whole time. You just never realize it's there the whole time at all.
Never realize.
And the best, clearest example I have of this is the chief color scientist at Photochem saw our dailies and he came by and goes, I was waiting to see what you guys had shot on the LED wall, but I saw everything you guys were doing was the practical stuff. So I was waiting to see what the LED wall looked like. And he says, you were looking at the LED wall the whole time. And he didn't even realize it. Right. Yes. So it's like, oh, wait, what? And it's like, it's there the whole time. And, you know, if you guys remember what we did on the ray tracing for the win, in that situation, he blew out the LED wall where it was so bright that you couldn't see the details out there, which was correct because that's how sunlight
light works.
Exterior works.
The sun is very bright, it turns out. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And in this one, it was very dark because it was nighttime where you could just barely make out the silhouettes of what was going on. And it was perfect. In fact, it was so dark that when we turned on the house lights, I barely knew that the LED wall was on. Right. But it was perfectly balanced for the correct exposure.
Right.
You can't tell where it was. And it was there the whole time.
Yep.
You just did not see it.
And like that between like Richard's incredible photography and our set builders and our production designer creating this unbelievable work of art set that was super layered and beautiful.
Ariel and her team was incredible.
Nescon, and
really, what was fun was watching the production design team, like, because we were at ISS and they had the all-you-can-eat props thing, and so that to watch them run off into this huge warehouse of props and just start dressing things. Oh, we need a piano. Oh, we need this. Oh, we need that. And it was right there. You know,
as much and it was fantastic. I mean, the thing is, it's not like the world's biggest volume wall. It's just when you design for it properly, you can get great work out of it, right?
Yeah, in fact, I think that's what surprised all of us. We all thought, like, when we saw the wall, it's like, it's too small, because when you look at it on its own and you see these giant, massive 200-foot walls, 150-foot walls, and you look at this one that's like barely 30 feet, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's no way you can shoot on this. But it was plenty big.
If you have pros that really plan for it and plan for
like
it
us.
Properly.
We are the pros.
Like us, but these folks that we hired and that we got involved, like they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what we were asking for, and we worked with Tom early and incredible set builders, like unbelievable stuff.
The painters, all the stuff.
Spectacular work,
right?
And like everything worked in concert to create this illusion that, like, even just like we're standing on the set. And I'm looking at it, and then when you're in real space, you can see that it is a wall. Sure. And you look through the eyepiece, and you're like, "Are they outside?" Like, it's really wild, you know. And like that is the I was really struck by an image when I was standing there with Richard, which was like, we're standing there and we're sort of half behind the set wall, at Video Village, sort of parked behind the set wall, so the light doesn't affect the screen, right? And everybody's, it's the set itself is very dark, so the whole stage is very dark. It's all lit up beautifully on the stage. James is there, everything's going on, right? Gorgeous stuff, right?
The frames look like Caravaggio paintings. They're incredible.
Like you said, like what you let Richard Crudo cook, man, you got something good going on.
You know who you're talking to.
Oh man, it's just amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. And so
my son refers to him as James Caan of
James Caan.
He just looks just like James Caan too. So,
and so I was standing there. I'm just standing there with Richard as things are getting set up and everyone's running around. We see the silhouettes of everyone running around. We see all this machinery and lights hanging down and the wall, the sets and the actors and everything's all right there. And the only light on our side really was coming from the viewfinder on the camera. And I just leaned forward and I looked through it and I leaned back and I was like, there's no image in my mind that captures what is amazing to me about film than this. Like all of this shit that's going on all comes down and funnels to this little square in an eyepiece. And right here is this other world.
Yeah,
like
so
you
awesome.
You can see the machinery and even then when you look into that little spot, you believe that instead.
It was so gorgeous. So gorgeous.
Everyone knew that too. Everyone was aiming for that square.
And I got to tell you, the thing that was most exciting to me is that you could sense the palpable excitement that everyone had on set from, from the costumer to makeup to everyone. Everyone got excited with everyone. And I know I was excited, and I was told by a lot of people that it's rare to have that level of excitement on set.
Ron Cohen is also part of that, right? Because he was able to just glue some of those
Ron
people together.
Ron is my rock, and I got to tell you, I want to make sure people know how much I appreciate what Ron brought to us because he brings together a team like no one has ever done. And he is my rock. He and he and I have admitted to each other, like, there's a lot of things that I know that he doesn't know, and there's a lot of things that he knows that I don't know. And the two of us, when we work together in terms of that, we meld really well. But God, man, that guy is incredible.
Oh, it's just great. Yeah, it's just
and
great.
He made sure we hit what we needed to do, and we did it in budget, and it was really great.
Yeah, and because it's like I said earlier, and vehemently, like making movies is hard work. It's super hard work, and there's no way around it because you're passionate about doing it. Everybody on the set is passionate about movies. That's why we're here to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're on a bad set, there's almost nothing worse. Like it's so angry and bad. It's toxic and it's fucking awful.
And everyone's panicking and they're like, this is going to suck.
Scrambling and terrible.
And then they start realizing, this movie's going to suck, and they just give up,
Yeah, and it's just it's so hard. It's so hard. But when you are working when I'm standing like in Janelle Croshaw, genius, the VFX, like when she's standing there and I just look over and I can see that she's like, this is fucking awesome. And I'm just like, this is awesome because you are awesome, because we are awesome, because James is awesome, because Chris is awesome.
And the thing is,
fucking rocking it.
Also, we all had our points, right? Like I remember specifically when we were dealing with the final shot and we were looking at the framing of it. And by the way, this is not the first time that Janelle said, we need to rethink this final shot, and had the right idea, right?
And exactly.
So she goes, maybe we should do this. Maybe we should. And this is direction, right? This is a visual effects usually. She was like, maybe, and then we let's try it. And it was oh shit, she was right.
Yeah.
Again.
This is let me tell you. Okay. So here's
not to say that we ever doubted her, but
no, this is the thing. It's nobody has said anything truer about making art in general, but about directing movies, than when David Lynch said, your job is to know when it's right. Like, it doesn't matter where it comes from. You don't have to be possessive about ideas. You don't have to be defensive about ideas. When it's right, that's the thing, right? And what this crew has created is this open, creative, excited tone where, no one's depending on one person to be the genius. Instead, all these geniuses are just throwing stuff into the pot, And what we end up with is something beyond any of us. Like this is stone soup. Like this is nobody, like no individual could have done what got done. We did it because we love working together, and we are like a giant Venn diagram that crosses over each other all over the place to make this thing.
Well, we will have more on that. Obviously, people will follow along, and we will see more information about it. So make sure to check us out and follow us on all our social media channels and our website, monstrousmoonshine.tv. All right, I will like to go a couple more quick bits, and this is a silly one. I'm sorry, it is also AI based, but it is funny, and I wanted to bring it up to you guys because I think it's kind of ironic, right? In our last episode, that Daniel and I did about obsession and oblivion. I was trying to make the point that, a lot of people out there, especially in the corporate side of things, feel that they have the answer on how to make movies for less money, right? And their solutions are to chase tax subsidies or use tools like AI to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
When I made a point in the movie specifically about Obsession, that movie was shot mostly in Burbank, and they didn't use any AI to do it. They just had a really fucking good story, and they did it, right? And I made that point, and I put it into the intro of the podcast as the hook to the podcast, right? And then it went into the music of the podcast, which, as if you guys follow the podcast, I make a new theme song for every episode using Suno, because why not, right?
Yeah.
Just for fun.
It's cool.
Right?
It's interesting. It's fun.
Right?
Trader.
And so there you go. So one of the comments in our YouTube was, you went and dissed AI and then used AI in the theme song. And I was like, well, first of all, did I diss AI? I just said...
You were dissing shitty business practices that make bad creative decisions.
All I said was, you don't need AI to make a movie better. I didn't say that's don't use AI. Right. I just said you don't need it.
Right.
You can use it or not use it. I don't give a shit. You just don't need it. And then now you're like, so it's just this camp, right? And it's this thing about specifically the internet. Put your comment out there like, fuck you, and then walk away, right?
Yeah.
And it just seems stupid, right?
This is because what you were saying, and something what you were saying, and something I completely agree with, is that if you are a studio and you think by waving an AI magic wand over your studio, you will suddenly make a lot of money, you're a bunch of morons.
Right.
Like, what makes money is selling creative, good shit. That's what people are coming to you for. And if you can't manage that, you're going to go out of business. If you think you can render things randomly on a magic box, then it's like, you guys saw when we did a thing on Buster Scruggs. We did an episode on Buster Scruggs years ago.
Long time ago, yeah.
Okay. So Buster Scruggs has this incredible story in it where there's Liam Neeson, right? And he drives this wagon and takes this guy around. This guy is a quadriplegic. And he is an actor.
No, he has no arms or no feet.
Yeah, sorry, he has no arms, nothing. And all he does is sit there on a
torso
stool,
and head, yes.
And he recites great monologues, and that's all he does, right? And you watch, as they go from Western town to Western town, and they're, sometimes they make a lot of money, but more often than not, it's a little less money, and you can see Liam Neeson is getting stressed out about it. And he goes to this one town where they make no money, and then he finds out why. Because all of the people in the town, instead of going to see his guy, they go to see this other thing. And he peeks in to see what it is, and it's a chicken, right, with a bunch of numbers in front of it. And there's a guy saying, "Give me a sum, give me a problem." And someone's like, 2 + 2. And then he goes, 2 + 2, take away chicken. And the chicken pecks 4, right? And the guy cleans up and makes a bunch of money. Now, obviously, the person in the crowd is a ringer. It's all fake. Liam Neeson buys the chicken. He spends all of his money that he made with the other guy on buying the chicken, and then throws the other guy off a bridge to die. And he's like, I'm going to fucking clean up with his chicken. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Like, the thing that makes the money.
That's a very good analogy. Yeah.
The thing that makes the money is the skill. at making good stuff. That's it. The tools don't make you the money. The people running the tools make you the money.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. And I'm just going to put it out on the I was going to ask you guys privately before, but I'm going to put it out on the podcast, and the audience can interject if they want to. Leave your comments about your anti-AI stuff. I don't care. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Should I dump using Suno and just come up with a theme song just so that it's out of the conversation?
Just so we get people to stop complaining about it.
Yeah.
Okay. May I make my point?
Of course.
I'm not a fan of anyone who tries to tell an artist or anyone creating anything what tool they should use. I just don't think it's anyone's business. I think I got one obligation to the creation of my thing, and you can call it art, or you can just call it whatever it is that I do. But it's my business, and I'm going to use whatever tool I need to make that thing. And the only person I think that really should weigh in, and I really don't care if they weigh in, is the viewer or the listener, right? And that's it. And you know what? Even that relationship, none of my business. You know, I'm going to go make a thing, and the relationship between the art and the viewer is actually something else completely, which Dan has educated me on. So I guess I'm getting up to here on people telling me what tool I'm allowed to use or not to use, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. So you put that in your comment section.
Well, here's the deal, right? That I don't believe, like, and now I will say, like, I think that if you're talking about AI from top to bottom, from all its other uses in government and weapons and all this
generative arts,
like, there's so much else to talk about that I have very strong opinions about. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking about being an artist and being a professional artist. Now, if you have an extremely strong moral position against a VFX podcast talks about movies using what is essentially clip art music, if you really feel very, very strongly about this, and then you're taking a strong moral stand for the goodness of mankind, please, I encourage you, stop listening. Stop listening right now. We are a moral danger to you.
We really are. We're trying to work it out. We're just guys trying to do the best we can with the tools we've been given.
I don't feel this way. Like, there's plenty of stuff I'm sure that this possible person and I would agree on if we were to talk like non-team members and just say, like, what's going on. I do find it very interesting. I find it interesting in the way of, like, this is interesting. This is an interesting way to track how good this stuff is and what uses it has. And because we do know musicians who use it, who are already professional musicians, but they're interested in fucking around with it because it can make noises that they then sample and use in their stuff. Like, there's ways to use anything as an artist, and this is one of them. There is, to me, nothing sinful in this. It's simply interesting. If it makes you turn off the podcast, that is your decision, and I endorse it wholeheartedly.
Who was that guy who found that huge sheet of metal that he hung up in the studio to something make weird sounds out of it?
Yeah, the dude from Star Trek. Yeah, the guy, the Star Trek guy. Yeah.
Did anyone? He just found something that was being thrown away in the alley, and he picked it up and he started using it. And
his name was
One man's trash, another man's treasure. The point is, he just picked up a tool and started using it.
I think it's perfectly reasonable if you I think that, for instance, whatever the question of water usage, the question of also, like, if you're like, I don't want to give money to these AI companies at all in any indirect way or make it okay, and that's your stance, I am totally in support of you feeling this way. Ooh. Go for it. It's
feeling
totally
this
fine.
way,
right? What I would choose to do always is to not try to demonize people, but rather make your argument and talk about things reasonably. So, and assume that other people you're talking to.
I just feel like if I keep using the tool, I'm going to get demonized. If I stop using the tool, I'm giving in to the mob mentality.
The terrorists win.
I don't. And first of all, I don't actually care. The whole point of me, the whole reason why I said I think I'm going to start using this is because it's actually fun to come up with a new theme song idea every freaking week.
Fun. It's like, it's fun. It's a toy.
It's a stupid podcast theme song. It's not, who cares?
It clearly,
heroin's a lot of fun too, Chris.
Okay. Like, for instance, none of it, like, I think there's
good one, James.
Like, that helps our argument. So, like here's the thing. Out of all the stuff that has been come up with for the show by that program, like, there's been like 5 or 6 times, like, oh, that's really neat. That's really neat. Is any of it Aretha Franklin? Is any of it The Doors?
No, it's
is
a
any
podcast
of it
theme song.
right? Exactly, that's where I was going. And like, how
could
many
be Aretha
podcast themes?
Franklin.
Like, yes, it could be. But the thing is, the fact of it is that if you take the completely anti-AI stance on it, you could say those guys are making a great anti-AI argument because they have not yet produced anything with that tool that is of the level of great art.
No.
And AI cannot do it. There you go. Now it's interesting again. Let it be interesting. Let it be interesting.
It's kind of like the guy who interviewed, like, what's his name? Sergio, who we interviewed, who uses AI to audition AI actors and prove how terrible they are.
That's a great use case.
It's awesome. Yeah.
And
but also the guy
uses AI.
The guy who posted the Monet of the lilies, right?
Yes,
and just said something akin,
I used AI to make this thing, and
he made it with AI, and everyone just weighed in like, the reason why this doesn't work is because the soul is missing from the core, and it just you just want to climb up on your high horse.
That's catfishing.
It's catfishing. It did prove a point very clearly, but it is catfishing. But the thing is, like with the guy with Sergio, I said to him, I was like, I think what's really fun here is that in making something that is anti-AI, because we don't believe that AI can be art, you've made art. You've used it as a tool to make art. Like that is a very funny, beautiful work of art you've made that used AI to do it, and that's very ironic. Yeah. And I think that you should, number one, certainly follow your morals and your ethics.
Yep.
And follow that wherever it goes. But if you're just talking on a day-to-day with regular artists, assume that they are humans, assume that they are as curious and interested in the world as you are if they are artists, right? And be curious and interested. That's it. That's the only thing that's required of you by you as an artist. Is is this interesting? Of what use could this be? And what are the problems? It's happening. I'm interested in finding out what happens. Try that. So much better way to spend your day.
Yep. I will. I want to end with a couple of things about the podcast.
It's over already.
It's been, we've been going on for almost an hour and a half. So, which I'm trying.
It only sounded like 10 minutes to our listeners.
Yeah.
This went by like butter, especially when I start yelling.
So
another thing.
Basically, as you guys have noticed, and many people have told me, is like they've noticed that the podcast is sort of evolving. And if you have noticed that, you are correct. The podcast is evolving, and we are starting to do a lot more, or changing some formats and doing a few more different things. We're doing more of these open discussion ones. James has been a reoccurring guest on those. We will probably have other reoccurring guests coming on as well. But essentially, this has become one of the episodes that we're putting out. Daniel and I are also putting out episodes about any new or old movie that we feel is relevant to discuss in general, like we did Disclosure Day, Obsession, Backrooms, et cetera. So those are all good things to discuss. And then finally, we have our general interviews that we do. But I also want to let people know that in general, we are trying to evolve because of the nature of the business, right? Visual effects isn't the way it used to be. It's not like the same old thing anymore where we're going to sit here and talk about, what latest fluid sim was used on whatever, right? That's not sort of what the industry is about anymore. And because of what we have been doing at Monstrous Moonshine, like the shoot that we did last week, we want to make this podcast more about the art and grind of filmmaking for the new Hollywood. And I feel that that's something that we're going to be bringing on. So we're going to bring on more than visual effects. We're going to bring on just all of filmmaking in some ways. I kind of jokingly said, I want to turn this podcast into The Town, but for the real people who do the actual work, not the executives.
Below the line town.
Below the line town.
Below the line town.
Right.
Yeah, below the line town. Yeah. So we're coming after you, Matt Bellamy. Just letting you know.
Yeah. I love that show. I think that's great. That is great for the producers and above.
You described it as the podcast that the executive listened to on their treadmill in their office.
It is absolutely the case. Absolutely the case. And so, I would say that if a balanced media diet for film would be listen to them and listen to us, and you'll be ahead of the game. That's the way to go.
Yeah, but I do believe that there's a lot, there's the garage part of the podcast is the important part, right? So like there's like a garage band when you're sitting to figuring stuff out. I sit here in this office in North Hollywood, and it feels like the garage of Van Nuys where they were building this, the spaceships of Star Wars, right? This is how it was done. We just kind of figured this shit out.
This is when we just shot that is what a friend of mine once said to me, there's two different, people move out here thinking they want to get in movies when they only love movies. They don't love movie making. These are two different things. Sometimes they happen together, but as you guys know, we've met plenty of people in the movie industry that don't know very much about movies. It's just not the case. They just like the technical stuff of it. But
they've never seen some movies. They're like, some people that we know that are incredibly talented filmmakers.
Really amazing. Yeah, it's really
I've never seen that movie. What?
But but where we are at shooting for June, July, this past go around, was the absolute coalescence of where I want to be as an artist, which is this is a lot of hard, fun, beautiful work. And I think that what's wonderful about this particular time period in filmmaking and in the movie business is that all the fat is being cut away and all of it's being boiled down to these core elements. Whatever the tools are that are being used to do it, everyone seems to realize that what sells is really creative, good, juicy art. That's what makes money. And the more money you can make with it, the more art you can make. And that's good stuff. That's where I feel like we're at. And that's why I think this particular podcast is more in tune with where film really is going than any other podcast in the world.
Hopefully.
Nice bite there. I also have to say that we're also in a volume business, and we are either subconsciously or consciously all being positioned to work faster than we've all worked before.
That's
did work pretty fast, dude.
Faster, great.
Dude.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you, the virtual production part of The Wall, was the least concern.
That's right.
Yeah,
of what we did.
Should never be a problem.
It's the reason why
I was there was only a handful of 3 people, mostly me, assembling that thing to go on the wall.
Yeah,
and I'm not even
Worked great.
Well, Jesus, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back because I actually. It wasn't like if I'm looking at a pure CG part, I was like, but when I put it on the wall, I was like, oh no, that's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah, let us do its job.
We had to work hard and fast, not because we weren't under the gun, because the studio's oh blah blah blah, we have notes, etc. The gun we were under is we have a vision for how good this thing is. And we are going to use all of the time as fast as we can to do this as best we know how. And that, if you go into that with positive energy, you get that. That's the joy of this stuff. That's why, when I hear people say, oh, whatever, and James, you'll agree with me on this one, oh, they just want, CG is so lazy, or AI is so, it's just because you want to be lazy. I have never met anybody in film who wants to be lazy. I've never met a lazy person on a film set because those people get fired.
No. I come in from all the solutions I've come up with to support this industry have been because I've basically always automated myself out of a job. But that's again not on set stuff. It's a different thing.
No,
right.
The thing is, what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is it's the fast, good, cheap. Intersection, right? What we want to do is to absolutely maximize these things. We want to do all of them as hard as we possibly can. because if we make it, we want to make it as good as we can because we care, right? Because we care about what we're doing. We want to make it fast so we have more time to do more of what we care about. Then we want to make it cheap so we can afford to keep on making these things. Like it's a constant struggle in all three directions. And so when we are talking about like using whatever tools for whatever reason, it's because we want to move as quickly and as decisively as we can to get more time to do more creative work. That's it. That's the whole point. It's not to be lazy. It's to get the fucking work done because we love it more than anything. Nobody gets into film because, oh, that sounds easy.
So when are we shooting again? When are we shooting again? I want to go.
We got to finish this up. No, I know you do, and so do I. So I got a plan. Don't worry, people will follow along, and we'll get it done. But listen, guys, thank you so much for yet another great episode. We are going to obviously come back. We'll have more to discuss, but this has been good. Boy, you guys were opinionated today. That's good.
Oh man, I'm sorry, I came in hot. I don't know what it is. It's a hot day. It's a hot day. I'm not usually this bad.
The heat.
A little feisty.
That's your,
sorry about that. I'll be nicer.
What is the line from The Birdcage with Hank Azaria? It's like, "You're afraid of my Guatemalanness, my Latin heat."
Yeah, swear to God. Yeah, so something I must have read something online. I get all heat. That's right, man. I'm usually a very nice person that I don't call Ang Lee an asshole on most shows.
Yeah, and again, I don't know who you are, sir.
I mean, he has made some of my literal favorite movies.
Back it up.
He has. I know.
It's fine. You can be a jerk and be incredibly talented.
You know,
people say that. It's okay.
And that's, we gave him a visual effects honorary thing. Not because I quit the VS after that. But anyway, all right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Pixels and passion are pipelines unknown. Two hosts, one show on a deadline postponed.